Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans, thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. Hope you all had a great weekend. Well, down here in Atlanta, poured, oh my God, rain. Unbelievable, but we'll take it because we want to make sure the lake stays full during the winter. So when the spring comes and the new year starts, we have water to keep us, hydrated, etc. So water is very important here in Atlanta. Atlanta is built on rock, so all the water drifted off. That's why they have Lake Lanier. It feeds Atlanta, Florida, Georgia, the South. So whenever it rains, we're excited down here. I'm just glad that my grass is, it's coming into the fall. So the grass, the bushes, the hedges, they're all kind of starting to dwindle in, and I don't have to worry about trimming them and cutting them, which I'm not going to miss. So, but otherwise, we're in a pretty good mood. Tennessee came in town. Georgia Bulldogs put a whooping on those Volunteers. Braves are in the playoffs. They're playing the Dodgers tonight. In the end, in the National Championship Series, who's going to go to the World Series? And of course, the Atlanta Falcons lost another game, 0-5, but they fired the coach and the GM. So we got a fresh crew in there, and hopefully they'll be able to get a win. But to be honest with you, I don't care if they win any more games because they'll get the number one pick and maybe make a trade for the younger quarterback from Clemson and get him in here and start over, as they say. It's gone downhill since we lost the Super Bowl against the Patriots. 28-3 going into the fourth quarter, and they lose. That is the story of their life this year. They lose every game in the fourth quarter, but this game, well, they were coming back through the interception, lost again. So anyway, still in a good mood. Change is good. Thanks for chiming in once again. Find us on the web. Tonight we have a really cool individual that we've invited in on the show. He's an entrepreneur. I've known him forever. He gave me a ride back to when I was in prep school. And, I'm only 26, but he gave me a ride back to my prep school and dropped me off there on his way back to New York. So I really appreciate that ride. Welcome to Commercial Construction Coffee Talk, Mr. Steven Greenspan. He's the founder of Poison Ivy and Bamboo Removal. He's a landscape guy, and he helps get some of these obstructions and some of these bad weeds out of the way. So if you're in commercial, industrial, federal, pharmaceutical, you can kind of clear the landscape so your guys can go in and get their work done. And I don't know about you, but all through my years growing up, I got plenty of poison ivy, and I know once it gets on me, it spreads all over me. And, it affects people in different ways, but it is a serious issue, especially in construction, because especially on a facilities gig, that if your crew goes in there and they don't know what they're looking for, and they get exposed to, the weed and the itching and the red bumps and it can be really, really nasty. So welcome, Steven. Say hi to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk.
Hey, listeners at Commercial Coffee Talk. How's everybody doing?
And you're calling us from Long Island, New York, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So the fall's coming in there. All the colors, the trees are turning, correct? Are there any leaves left on the trees, or?
No, all the leaves are left. Actually, the most colorful leaves right now, David, are poison ivy leaves.
There you go. Nice segue.
Yeah, all bright yellows and oranges and reds. They look magnificent. Yeah, it's abundant all over. Thank God.
Well, I just posted a really cool picture of all, the fall, someplace up in Connecticut and the lake and all the trees were orange. Listen, up here in the North Georgia mountains, it's a beautiful time of year because all the trees are turning, and it's just beautiful. But then what happens is a nice big wind storm comes in, rain, all the leaves end up on your yard. So then I got to deal with them for about a month until they all get blown off the tree, put them in the refuse bag, get rid of them, and then I don't have to deal with them for, about another 6 or 7 months. But it really is a beautiful time of year. I remember out in Denver, we didn't get the colors. It was yellow and bright golds so forth out west with the aspens, beautiful up in the Rockies. But here we get the color, just like up in the Northeast. The leaves fall off a little earlier than what we have down here because, we're a little warmer. But, in Florida, they don't get it. You know, I mean, it's a different gig. So they don't really get the fall season. So California too, they really don't get it. Am I right?
Well, California gets a change.
Northern California.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
because
SoCal.
it's remember, it's not the cold that causes or that's responsible for leaves being shed, but it's also the shortening of the daylight, which triggers biochemical reactions in the plants.
Well, we're gonna get into all that chemistry stuff here in a second. So basically, Steven, just like all the episodes, you have to tell us your story. You have to tell us kind of where you grew up, you know, where you went to school, how you got into what you're doing today. And then we'll kind of get into, you know, poison ivy and bamboo and, you know, all that exciting stuff. So, Mr. Greenspan, the floor is yours. Tell us your saga.
All right, David. Well, thank you very much. And it's an honor to be here on your show today. And it's great to be able to reconnect with you after, what is it, 42 years, I think is what it is, something like that.
You know what's amazing is, you know, we did it via LinkedIn, and you came to me and said, "Hey, are you David Corson, the guy that I dropped off at the petty school way back,
Right.
you know, sometime, whatever?" And I was like, "Steven Greenspan, oh yeah, man, the 240, you know, on the going down the New Jersey Turnpike, exit 8. Yeah, I remember that."
Yeah.
You know, I think I was probably 15 or 16 at that
I think you're just about that age. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I had my license yet because I had my car illegally at school. Sorry, Petty. I hate to tell you that, but I did my junior and senior year. But I don't think I had my license yet, so that's why I was getting. I think we were coming from Atlantic City, Margate, you know, on our way back.
I don't remember. I was driving you back to school though, on my way back up to New York back in the day.
Yeah,
some 42 years ago.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You know, without LinkedIn, you wouldn't have found me, you know, but amazing. You know, I don't know how you found me. I was like, oh, David Corson. Oh, I remember this kid. I'm gonna, you know.
You haven't changed a bit. I mean, other than a little grayer, I mean, it's exactly how I remember you.
Do you know what? I weigh the exact same, my playing weight, you know, that I did in prep school and college, you know, and I haven't really, I just have less hair and I'm gray, you know, and I've got the Corona beard going here, you know, but other than that, I pretty much look the same. I haven't changed. You know, I'm still crazy, you know, I'm, you know, still like, you know, all that crazy stuff that I did way back when. I can reminisce, wouldn't change a thing, you know, because it molded me who I am.
Right.
But,
Sure.
Yeah. But I appreciate the ride. Thanks for dropping me off in Hightstown, New Jersey.
One good turn deserves another. So here we go.
Yeah.
So I got started with landscaping years ago when I was about 16 years old. Actually, let me back up. So I went to school for horticulture back in the day and had a great love of the outdoors, so that I never wanted to be caught inside of an office working in that type of an environment. And in the earlier days, I was happy to doing door-to-door sales, which kept me outside. And I found that in my neighborhood where I was living at the time with mom and dad, that no one was able to cut their own lawns or didn't want to, or too lazy, whatever the reason being. So I volunteered, found that I was able to make a decent amount of money relatively easy by cutting grass. So I became known as the kid down the block who basically cut the entire neighborhood's lawn. And that's how I got my start in landscaping, gardening, and that's how I came to know what poison ivy was all about and how it ravages one's body. But what happened was, over the years, as I grew up, I went to camp as a day camp counselor on Long Island. I remember it was West Hills Day Camp. And my first couple of days I'm at camp, I'm walking around barefoot everywhere I go. No shoes, no socks, pure bare feet. Little did I know, I'm walking through poison ivy every day. And at the end of the second or third day, I noticed I had these small little reddish welts crawling up between my toes. Not thinking much of it. I tossed it off to being bugs, bug bites, whatever. And on the fourth or fifth day, I noticed this rash start to spread up my ankles, my legs, my thighs. I had it on my face. I was beginning to show it over here, and I was cross-contaminating because I was scratching.
Yeah, you touch yourself, it spreads.
Yeah, and I was transferring the oils, so that eventually at the end of a week, I was literally covered from head to toe with poison ivy, but still had no idea or premonition as to what was causing me all my angst. So one night, I tried desperately to go to sleep, laying out on my bed. It's hot summertime, and I put out a big white towel. I woke up in the morning with this yellow halo that outlined the shape of my body in yellow ooze. That's how badly my body was inflamed from this poison ivy. But I still didn't know it was poison ivy. My mother walked into my room because at the time, remember, I'm 16, 17 years old. And I say to Mom, I said, I'm having trouble breathing. So they rushed me to the hospital. I go to the ER, I walk in there, and they look at me and they go, oh, of course, you got a really wicked case of poison ivy. That's when I came to realize what had taken place in my body during that week was all attributable to this stupid plant. And while I was convalescing for the remainder of what was the summer, because I had scabs that literally engulfed my body all over.
So it was calamine lotion, right?
Well, I had pink calamine lotion back in the day, and I looked horrible. I looked like Quasimodo. My eyes were all disfigured. My face was all welted out. And I'm itching bad.
Yeah.
So, and no one wants to talk to me. And that was the summer that I missed out, 16. I missed out on all the parties that one would normally go to at that point.
Oh, yeah.
So I missed out playing spin the bottle. The guys didn't want to talk to me. They thought it was contagious. The girls didn't want to play spin the bottle or kiss me. I can't say I blame them. I mean, I was a living horror story walking around. So once I got better, or as I was healing, I was doing some research, and I came to understand that poison ivy affects 85% of the population. I had no idea that so many people were allergic to this plant. Upon doing further research, I also found out that poison ivy afflicts not only 85% of the population, but basically translates into 50 million cases of poison ivy rash every year are reported by the American Skin Association. That translates into an economic loss for companies who have outside workers, construction people, linemen, landscapers, people work in forestry, mining, telephone companies, cable pullers, all those types of trades. And that causes these people to call in sick for workers' comp, and that causes their insurance premiums to go up, the companies themselves, and it causes loss of productivity, plus you got to pay workers' comp fees. So it's really got an economic impact on society as a whole. State of California, the second leading cause of worker absenteeism for workers' comp is poison oak, which is closely related to poison ivy. So again, it holds true as to what takes place within the plant. So I realized at that point, I'm now 17 years old, and I'm still cutting grass, and I'm getting poison ivy almost on a daily basis because it's prevalent all over outside in the garden. And then I realized that because of this is a great opportunity. I can make more money doing poison ivy control and removal than I possibly could do in cutting grass, because anyone can cut grass, but nobody wants to touch poison ivy. It's the forbidden fruit. Yeah. I mean, landscapers will not do poison ivy. Very few of them will endeavor to touch it. And when it comes to poison ivy, you need special equipment, safety gear, education, training, how to handle it, how to remove it, how to dispose of it, so it doesn't grow back. Because dead poison ivy plants, once they're brown, still remain toxic to the touch. So, and most people don't understand that. So they're quick to spray with a herbicide, thinking that'll kill it and neutralize the oil. Then they go in barehanded and they go to pull it out, only to find out that they still have poison ivy all over their body. And then they're calling me crying, I thought I got rid of it and I still have a rash, come help me.
There was a guy at the end of my lacrosse season back in August. We needed an extra player or two, for the end of the season. It's sizzling hot here in Atlanta. Anyway, this guy had his whole arm wrapped up. I mean, it was all wrapped up, swollen. And I'm like, dude, what'd you do to your arm? He goes, oh, it's poison ivy. I'm like, oh, get away. That stuff, I touch that stuff, man, I'm going to have it all over my body. Right. You sure you should be out here? He's like, oh, no, I've got it wrapped up, but, it's pretty nasty. But, I mean, you should have seen his arm. I mean, he was wrapped up all the way up and swollen. I mean, it was unbelievable.
It's unsightly. And not only that, though, it leaves your body open to secondary infection because the skin is all broken and any kind of bacterial or germ can get in there and really wreak havoc with your system. Plus, once you get poison ivy, you're susceptible going forward to getting it easier and worse with each reoccurring exposure episode to the plant, which is an anomaly of the plant, because most people would think frequent exposure, you would increase your resistance to the plant. And in fact, it works the complete opposite. So that's a problem also. That needs to be, you know, most people don't understand, and I deal with that as well. So doing poison ivy, and we blossomed into bamboo and kudzu removal, because those are highly invasive plants that most people I've found don't know how to deal with them, don't have the capabilities or the machinery or the technical expertise. So that bamboo, kudzu, oh, and Japanese knotweed, along with poison ivy, are probably the four most prevalent vegetation species that can create any builder, any site developer, any construction person grave concern. And the reason that that is so is that these are plants that are not ready, that are not easy to get rid of. You just can't go in, just so to speak, rip it out. By doing that and not removing the roots properly, those four plants that I mentioned, each one of them will grow back bigger, stronger, better than before. And in doing so, they tend to spread at a greater velocity and come back stronger in intensity, so they compound the problem that you're trying to remedy, because now you have more of something than actually you're trying to diminish.
Kudzu all over the South.
Well, kudzu for sure. Kudzu will grow, you know, 10 feet in a day, literally. The vines are impossible to get rid of. And kudzu is probably, well, kudzu and bamboo are both highly invasive, and they're both very hard to control. Herbicides really don't work effectively against either one of both of them. Bamboo has the let me just go over the vegetation in a case-by-case basis.
So before you go in there, so you were cutting grass, you're still young, you started your landscaping company, and you got into this removal gig.
Absolutely. And what happened was I went away to college. Oh, so I graduated high school, went off to college, and I majored in environmental science. Put me back in the woods because my classes were being held in the forest. And little did I know, poison ivy again while I'm in school in college. And I realized that this is a great opportunity. So I went out, once I graduated from college, I formed poisonivyremoval.com, and that became my namesake, which I've been doing for the last, I guess, 45 years, give or take.
Now, the internet wasn't invented way back when, but that was the name of your company, Poison Ivy, and then you got the .com. Come on, now.
I added the .com, absolutely.
Oh, wait, correct. Al Gore created the internet. I was thinking you did it, but you know.
Yeah, no. No, I was just itching for that opportunity.
Sorry, I had to throw it in there. My Rodney Dangerfield. There you go. That's my one joke of the night.
Okay, good deal. So what happened with the poison ivy removal, that became so profound because once I started advertising that I do poison ivy in the little penny savers that back in the day that they used to give away as the free newspaper that was delivered to the front of your house, I was getting more phone calls than I knew what to do with. It was overwhelming. I mean, seriously overwhelming. We were getting as many as 200 phone calls a week. This is back in the 70s. It was unheard of. And at the time I was using herbicide Roundup to go out and spray with my little tank, which I'd pump up, I'd walk around, spray the properties, kill the poison ivy, not knowing at the time how toxic and dangerous and damaging the product Roundup was back in the day. But I was making a decent living back then, and that was all that really mattered to me, is to make a good living. And then as a result of what I did, I grew the business, and we started buying vans and took on and created a whole fleet of vehicles with a crew that would go out and service these houses as they called in for us to remove the poison ivy. And it involved doing work for state, local, county, schools, golf courses, homeowners, shopping centers, car dealerships, people who had nature preserves, bike paths, hunting clubs. Basically anywhere a plant can grow, you'll find poison ivy creeping in somewhere. So we service a wide range of properties and a wide range of owners.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and then what happened all along the way is that many of these properties, I would notice and say, you know, you have bamboo growing on your property. And bamboo, for those who don't know, can grow 3 feet vertical in one day. And over a course of a growing season, its roots or rhizomes horizontally extend outwards not less than 20 feet every year. And they keep annexing. And these plants, even though they go dormant in the winter, they do not die. So when they resume their growth in the following spring, they're picking up where they left off from the year before. So they become older, bigger, more mature, and they extend outwardly in every direction. And because of the invasive nature of the plant, that if you leave the littlest amount behind of a root, it allows the plant to regenerate an entire new vestige of what was once before.
So how many guys? So you evolved. You have this company. You get calls. You know, obviously today people find you on the web.
Right.
And how many guys like you are out there around the country? Are you like a little niche? Do you have your own association, or you know? Because like you said, not everybody wants to go out and pick poison ivy. You know.
Sure, sure. So basically, what happens is it's a cottage industry for the most part. It's a great opportunity because right now, especially with COVID, this has been our busiest year ever due to COVID. I mean, because everyone's housebound and they're stuck on their properties. Everyone's taking notice. Oh my God, we have bamboo, we have kudzu, we have vines, we have poison ivy. We need to get rid of these plants and we need to get it done now.
Mm-hmm.
So no complaints here on my part. But what's happened is it's cottage industry, and a lot of guys and gals go into it thinking it's an easy kill, make quick money. And while you can make a decent living doing providing a much needed service, it still requires specialized knowledge, specialized training, and to some degree specialized safety equipment, because most people, as I said earlier, are allergic to the plant. So most of the guys that I know or gals who do removal on a nationwide basis, they're as equally allergic to the plant as I was back in the day.
You can't build up an immunity to poison ivy, right?
Not really. I mean, some people do eventually outgrow it with old age, but most people, once the body gets exposed to it the first time, and it comes to recognize what that allergen factor is, forevermore, you're now allergic to poison ivy. It's the reverse. And there's no vaccine. There was a vaccine years ago that people were dying from the vaccine. So obviously they took it off the market. That's gone bye-bye.
Yeah. So looking at, like, we're in the commercial construction, shopping centers, big box, open air centers. That's the big thing these days. And now, so how would when a person goes in there, like if they're looking at a new site and so forth, what should they look for in order to say, hey, I need to get this done before I even start on my project?
Well, here's where a lot of builders and developers make a big mistake. Everyone thinks that they can control weeds just by going in and cutting them down or turning them over with a bobcat or a bulldozer. And I get that. And that's all well, it's good intention. But what happens is they complicate the problem because most contractors are not knowledgeable enough to how to go about to totally eradicate those invasive species so that they never return. And the success of a build out of a big project, shopping center, house construction, whatever, office building, whatever, you don't want to have these weeds left in the soil once the project is done, so that years 2 and 3, all of a sudden you get major resurgence of those weeds that start popping up all over through the finished landscape. And then at that point, it's too late, because then you've got to destroy the landscape that's in place in order to get rid of those regrowth weeds.
So the builder comes in, he grades the land, they put the slab down, the concrete, whether it's, just as the foundation, whatever it might be. They cover it up, they build the building, and then a little while, maybe a year or 2 years, whatever it might, all of a sudden it starts coming back. It'll
happen as quickly as 3 months. What should happen is when a builder is going to do a plot development or a big area, they should really do is contact me so that I can give them a consult or at least an identification. It's the nature of the species of the plants that are there to let them know whether they're going to pose a problem down the road or not. Because the worst thing they can do, once you disrupt the soil profile that's been sitting stagnant all those years, and you disrupt the vegetation that's been growing undisturbed, and you start breaking up or chopping up those roots, rhizomes, that's when you create the problem that becomes an insurmountable plague that'll be with you for many, many years. So the best thing to do is to do nothing, make a phone call, get the plants properly identified, then a proscribed course of action to follow so that you know going forward whether you can remove those plants yourself or have a specialist come in and at least give you the advisement of how to do it properly so you're not haunted by it once the project is done.
So I just bought my land up on the lake. My house is up on the market. I'm going to be my own builder. So when I go up on my lot, okay, the next time before I break ground, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to take a video and I'm going to say, hey, here's my land. Here's the markers.
Yep, exactly.
And you could actually look at that and say, hey, you've got this, this, and this. Am I correct?
The beauty of now with the internet and Zoom and all that, exactly. So we do virtual, here we do contactless, COVID contactless consults, exactly as you're describing. We ask people to go outside their property. We schedule a time allocation, and they do a walkthrough with me with their phone or their whatever they're using for their video capture. And this way it's interactive. I can say, go back to that corner. I saw something over there that caught my eye. Let me see, zoom in a little bit, and I can then get a better sense and an idea of what's there. And then I marry that to still photographs that they also send to me. And then I can give them a basic evaluation and an estimate that's reasonably, accurate within a certain range of dollars, say a $5,000 or $10,000 range. Say, look, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to remediate this problem if you do this, this, and this, or you could do this, this, and this. I try to give them alternatives so they have meaningful choices with which to choose from.
How many companies over the years have said, oh, I wish I would have known you existed before I poured the concrete?
Hindsight is 2020. I'll give you a perfect example. We got called into a job where it was an office building, and it was a prestigious building, not just some low end, stuck in a back alley somewhere. And they had a bamboo garden that they planted, thinking that was going to be an elegant entry into the main mezzanine of this building. And it did. It had this large cascading branches above. It really looked sharp, except that the bamboo that they planted was a spreading variety, or running bamboo as it's called. They didn't contain the rhizomes to prevent them from spreading. So the bamboo grew beneath the sidewalk and came in at the expansion strip where the sidewalk met the building foundation. So you had this long 100-foot run of bamboo growing right along the edge of the concrete at the building edge, and there was no way to get it out without breaking up the entire walkway. What happened in this situation is the bamboo, not only did it grow beneath the sidewalk, it grew underneath the door plate and grew internal into the office building beneath the carpeting.
That's not good.
No. And it was 35 feet inside the office before we found an end to it. But we had to rip up the carpeting. We had to take out the door. We had to rip up the concrete. And all that, of course, needed to be repaired once we were done. It was a costly operation.
The way I look at you is, I'm a sports guy. So it's kind of like, you go to a game, you get dressed in the locker room, you go up for your pre warm-ups, stretches, whatever. And then you do the national anthem, you sing whatever, and then you play the game. So you're basically a perfect individual to go into the pre-construction, you'd be a good guy to have at the pre-con meeting. And just in general, or have the picture sent to you before even that pre-con meeting. Say, hey, we got this and this. I talked to the poison ivy guy, and before we do the grading and so forth, we need to make sure we get rid of all this stuff because we're going to be paying more down the road than in the facility maintenance side of things than if we would have just taken it and added that line item to the budget in the beginning. Correct?
Absolutely. I can just think of one other one recently that happened where there was a large 20,000 acre tract of land that was heavily infested with poison ivy and bamboo. And because the property was under development and it was also under summons from the town because there was an ordinance passed that forbid uncontained bamboo to exist on any piece of property. The guy called us in to remediate the problem. He didn't want to spend the amount of money that it was going to take to properly eradicate the bamboo. So we had someone come in and just literally cut it down like big grass, and then left all the canes there. Well, the canes died, but all the roots remained viable, intact in the soil. So what happened 2 years later, the bamboo came back more dense, taller, and stronger than it was 2 years before. Now he's ready to pour concrete. Well, the project has been delayed at least 6 months to a year because they've got to eradicate all this bamboo now that took over the entire lot, from lot line to lot line. It consumed the entire place. All because the guy was in haste.
Well, before I go down and grade and pour my concrete, so I'm going to act as my own contractor. I'm going to be sending you a video. So there you
Please
go.
do. Please do.
You got your new another customer down here, in the South. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they reach out to you? Whether you're a shopping center owner, or a contractor, a building owner, a house, residential gig, doesn't matter where you are, because I know you travel and get stuff done. You go and how would they reach you?
Well, we service pretty much the entire country as far as doing consults, and we'll even travel our team of guys out to your site if need be to do an eradication or removal complete, and we guarantee our work against future regrowth. So the best way to reach me is to go to one of my websites. One of them is bambooremoval.com. That's bambooremoval.com, just as it sounds. You can fill out a request for an estimate or consult on there. There's a form. Or if you wish to dial us direct, it's 1-855-DIG, D-I-G, bamboo. That's 1-855-DIG, bamboo. And if you have a poison ivy problem, you can go to our poisonivyremoval.com. That's poisonivyremoval.com. And the same thing exists there. You could fill out a request for a consult. And if you want to call us on phone, it's 1-888-PI-RELIEF, R-E-L-I-E-F. That's 1-888-PI-RELIEF.
And I'm sure on your site you got some really gruesome pictures of poison ivy infections and stuff.
We have all kinds of
Well,
goodies.
I've seen the blog, so I know what it looks like.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
And I'm sure all you out there in commercial construction coffee talk land, if you've had poison ivy, man, it's a bummer. Especially if it's spread. So, well, Steven, for myself, if you would like to get in touch with me, you can reach me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. If you're not a subscriber, we'd love to hear from you. Whether it's your poison ivy story or so forth, we look at everything. If you're not a subscriber, up on my toolbar at ccr-mag.com, hit the subscribe button. We'd love to add to you. And if you have a cool project or so forth, poison ivy or not, send it to me. We look at everyone, we'll find a spot for it, whether it's on social media, on the website, maybe even the magazine. You never know what might end up in ink. And, I can remember one time I had poison ivy so bad in me. I was playing baseball in the summer, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm rubbing, I had it all on the inside of my legs down. And I know exactly where I got it, these bushes outside the house. And I was cutting the grass. And anyway, I saw this baseball that was in the things, and I just went in there to grab it. And then all of a sudden, man, it was all over me. And I had to go to the doctor, and they were like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen a worse case." And back then it was calamine,
Right. Yeah.
But it was nasty. I still remember that. I might have been like, 8 or 9 years old. And but here I'm very careful because I got a lot of woods behind my house now. And when I'm trying to get the house presented, and I'm back there with the weed eater, and I'm like, man, I'm putting on full pants, boots, man. I am not screwing around, man, because normally I would just go back there in shorts. And I'm like, I just thought I had the flashback, poison ivy. I know it's back there, and I know what it looks like. And I'm like, I'm putting on everything. And then the minute I got home, it was like, take my boots off, throw everything in the washer, put some serious bleach in there.
So David, just as a quick adjunct, so when I used to go out to do the removal myself, I would then come home and take off all my clothes, throw them into the wash all together with socks, underwear, outer garments, and then wash them. Well, I came to learn too late in time, that the oil, once it's in the machine, it cross-contaminates everything.
Oh,
So
nice.
when my underwear came out and dried, I put it on.
Oh,
It was
that's not good.
contaminated. It was contaminated underwear.
That's not good.
No.
That's not good. That's not good. Wipes aren't going to help that. You know.
No.
Well. Now I know. You know what? Next time I do it, I'm throwing the clothes out. They're going in the garbage
Yeah.
can to fill. I'm not going to deal with it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call someone like you. Go do it. It's worth it. I'll save my clothes and my washer and everything else. Well, Steven, it's been a pleasure. It was actually kind of nice after all the years, connecting with people. You pretty much look the same too. So technology is an amazing thing, and I'm glad you're doing well. And like I said, kudzu. When I was in North Carolina for my stint, as I made my way south, kudzu was everywhere. It's all everywhere here, and you can't imagine how quick this stuff grows. And so, guys like you. Thank God for guys like you out there that want to do this stuff, because it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not cutting grass, making your bushes look. This is serious stuff. And if you're a builder out there, take it seriously. He's just not trying to add to your budget. If you could save yourself a lot of time and pain and effort by just taking a look and having the consultation, and if you think you have it. A phone call won't kill you and send some pictures. Hey, is this poison ivy? Is this bamboo? Because down the road, like you said, this stuff grows like crazy, and it could ruin your project down the road.
So I'll give you another quick example. There was an asphalt paver. They were doing a shopping center for Home Depot, I think, and the lot itself, prior to development, had this tall weed on it called Japanese knotweed. That's KNOTWEED, knotweed. And some people think or mistake it for being a form of a bamboo, because the plant grows 12 to 15 feet tall every year. What happens is, though, the roots themselves, when you cut the plant down, and the contractor came in to pave over with crushed gravel, the subbase, and then poured the hot asphalt and pressed it. 2 weeks after that was all done and they turned the job over, the asphalt parking lot started to bump up in places all over. I'm not talking little bumps. I'm talking 2 to 3 inch high heaves.
Mm-hmm.
The plants beneath the gravel were re-emerging due to the heat of the summer baking through the asphalt, so that they actually had to rip up large portions of the parking lot in order to fully eradicate this problem. All because they didn't take the primary step to eradicate fully prior to pouring the job.
Like I said, I always apply things to sports. It's just like stretching. Stretch out, make sure you go before you go play. Hey, if you're a builder out there, make sure you got rid of this stuff, because you won't have the headaches down the road. Very educational. I feel like I just went to landscaping 101 in school. So this has been awesome. So, Steven, I want you to say goodnight up north. Say goodnight to our listeners out there.
Good night, everybody. I've just been itching to talk to you tonight.
Nice pun. I like it. And stay safe out there, taking out that poison ivy and all that junk weed up there. Enjoy the fall colors while they last. And the holiday season's coming up. So, take care up north. All of you out there in commercial construction coffee talk land, we got about 25 days, I think it is, to the election. Remember, vote. May the best man win, and let's move on. Let's close this year out, this crazy year of 2020, and shut the books on it and move into 2021. I think it's going to be one of the greatest years ever. Stay positive and have fun, smile. And remember, COVID's still out there. Remember, wash your hands, don't touch your face, make sure your surroundings, and you'll be okay. And if you do go sick, we got the remedies coming up, the vaccines. Hopefully everything will come in and we'll get rid of this thing once and for all. We'll get back to our daily lives. And like I said, 2021 is looking really promising. But everybody be prosperous, be healthy, and be safe for the remainder of 2020. So with that said, if you want to find this episode, we're on Google, Spotify, and Apple. And you can find us up on the web. I also stream everything up on our website and our social media. And we really appreciate you finding us on the web. Steven, thank you so much for your knowledge. And thanks for cutting the grass and learning. Hey, man,
Hey, man.
I can do this. You know, I'm sorry that you had the big halo around you. You know, but look, everything negatives, you turned it into a positive, and look, you built a business around it. So, you know, cha-ching. Congratulations to you.
Right.
You know, it's you know, there's the glass not half full, half empty. You know, it's going to be partly cloudy, partly sunny. So, you know, I would say winning ugly. Listen, as long as it's a W, it's okay. So you got the poison ivy, you won. It was an ugly one, but it was still a W. Look at you now. You've done this whole thing. So.
Here's the beauty of the perfect life cycle. I take out the bamboo, which I make into back scratchers to scratch the poison ivy that you get when you're taking out the bamboo.
Talk about sustainability and recycling. Unbelievable. We're going to end it on that. Hey, everybody, have a great rest of the week. And we're going to catch you next time on Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Good night, Steven, up in New York. This is David Corson with Commercial Construction Coffee Talk and CCR Magazine saying good night from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll catch you next time. Everybody, be safe. Remember to vote. Have a great rest of the season. The holidays coming up. See you, Steven. Good night.
Good night.